question and answer portion of today's GIC talk. If you did not receive a piece of paper when you came in, please raise your hand and one of our volunteers will come by and give you paper and a pen for you to write your question, and it will be passed back up to me. So let's begin with a few questions about your personal history. So when did you first come to Korea?
I came here on March last spring. So actually I studied here for only one semester, but I decided to extend because I like Korea and I really like to study at Chonnam National University, so that's why I'm here.
Okay, and what are you studying at Chonnam University?
There I studied from business administration department. Actually my major is communication science, but at Chonnam National University I couldn't find a lot of English classes, so I decided to follow my minor, that is marketing and this kind of thing.
Okay, and why did you choose Korea in general and why Chonnam National University specifically?
I chose Korea. Actually, my professor offered me to study there, and it was like a very short time. She announced it like Wednesday, and the deadline was on Friday, and I just submitted the form and the application, and that's it. I was accepted, and I came here.
And what was your impression about Korea before you came here? And what is your level of Korean language ability?
What I knew about Korea before here, you know, K-pop is very popular in Indonesia. Every young people there, they are like crazy about K-pop, but I was not the one of them. I knew Korea, I knew Korea is a high technology country, and from K-pop, when the young people, they really interested in it, but I took a look at different way how Korea could market their culture to the world very wide, and I think that was very good, and that's why I came here to learn more about Korean language. I studied at Chonnam National University just only for 4 months, so I don't think I can speak Korean well now.
Okay, well, let's move on to the subject of your country. One of our audience members is curious about how the modern country of Indonesia got its shape. How did Indonesia develop into the country it is today?
Maybe we observe a lot of things from the outside. We have so many local cultures, but as you know, the young people, some others, they are really interested with the Western culture, but there are still some other people that they want to make the local culture exist. I think, and we are also consuming from the media, and it's so free to get anything like, and also we use like social media a lot, and I think that's the main factor. The culture in Indonesia is modernized.
Okay. And you mentioned your country's Independence Day is August 17th, is that correct? What is that celebrating independence from? What was before the modern country of Indonesia came into existence, was it a colonial property?
Yes. We were colonized by Dutch colonialism and from Japan. And I think about this, when I came here, as I knew about Korea, Independence Day was August 15, and my country was August 17, and I want to share my thought about it. And actually we got our independence in the same year, right? Just 2 days difference. But we can see that today the development of Korea and Indonesia is different, so different. But something that I can conclude is like Korea is smaller and you are united with one language, and how to say, not so many ethnic groups, and so I think it's easier to distribute like for education or anything, but Indonesia is so wide, and it's today even for the national exam we still have like very close area that the government need to use helicopter just to send the question of the exam to the students there. So, but I believe that someday Indonesia can grow well and can be developed as good as Korea.
And you just compared the situation in Korea where the area is smaller, one language, mostly one ethnic group. Indonesia is much more diverse, and
Yes.
part of that is there have been some separatist movements in Indonesia. Are those still an issue in the country, and how is the government responding to separatist groups?
Yes, actually in Aceh there is like some kind of movement that they want to be separated, but today, as I know, it's it's getting better, and I think somehow we think that we are different from others, because if I have my ethnic groups and I meet another person from another ethnic group, sometimes we feel different. But there are, if I want to say, there are three things that can make Indonesian people united. Do you want to know that?
I do.
First is about football. When it comes to football match, Indonesia versus another country, then Indonesian people, they are just united. And then second is about maybe, should I say this? About our neighbor country, Malaysia. Sometimes we have like I don't know how to say, like a conflict with Malaysia with some cultural things or something. And the third one is, I forgot. Yeah, football, Malaysia, and maybe disaster. When it comes to like natural disaster, all people like come together and we really want to help each other.
Now, you mentioned that one of the things that can bring Indonesians together is agreeing to be against Malaysia in a conflict. One of the audience members mentions that Korea still has some kind of strong feelings against Japan due to the colonial history. Are there any lingering feelings of resentment due to history of colonialism in Indonesia?
About colonialism in Indonesia. Indonesia was colonized by Dutch for 350 years, and from Japan it's about 2 years or something. Yes, if I'm not mistaken, it was 2 years, and we actually got a lot from Netherlands, but you know, as we were colonized, so at that time there was only like for rich people, or from, how to say in English? Yeah, for rich people, who could go to school, and not so many people can get education. But from those kind of things, there came like lots of heroes like fighting for human rights and anything. So I think from the history we can learn something, and colonialism was not too bad as long as we can learn something.
Okay. Moving to the specific topic of today's talk, this organization, this website, Good News from Indonesia. Do you have a personal connection with this organization, or are you just a fan?
Should I say honestly?
Sure.
Okay. The reason why I want to present this, because, you know, as I said before, it really changed my mind about Indonesia, the first one. And the second one is I got an opportunity to join like a social media camp for young people in Indonesia, and one of the speakers was the founder of this website. So at the end of the seminar, at that time, I came to him and we just changed our name card, and then we started to talk each other, and fortunately he also lived in the same city with me, so we had the chance to meet not regularly but often, and so we became like a good friends, and we just discussed many things. And I was so lucky to be a part of this book also, because I got the chance to help him to rearrange the articles to be this book. That's it.
Okay. Now, you mentioned some of the negative things that people often associate with Indonesia at the beginning of your talk. Can you talk about maybe what some of your ideas are about solutions for some of those problems that are plaguing Indonesia?
The solution? Maybe this sounds cliché, but I think education is the most important thing, because as I said before, Indonesia is again too wide and too big country, and somehow it's very hard to make them united. Like for education, for example, one school, though they are the same public school, when I compare to Korea, we still have like not so good education system, because as I experienced, I was going to private school for about 14 years, and then I decided to go to public school when I was in the high school, and I was so shocked because it was totally different between the private school where I went to and the public school where most of Indonesians, they are going to public school, and I was so surprised. And the most important thing is that Indonesian, they are going to school, not all of them think that they need education. Sometimes they just go to school for getting a job in their future or just getting a good mark. Maybe it's normal in everywhere, but I think the young people need more responsibility, and the most important thing is also they need to have optimism about their future, because once you lose your optimism about your future, and then you will have no motivation to do your best for your country. Because I think the young people have a very great responsibility to run the Indonesia in the future. So I think this website or another young movement is really good to have, because it can restore your optimism.
Okay. And you just mentioned education. We have time for just a few more questions, but one of the audience members was interested in what is the role of English language in the education system of Indonesia?
Yeah, that's the question that I usually get from my friends, because they always ask me like, is all Indonesian they can speak English? Well, honestly said, it's not all of them, but today the younger generation, they really keen on studying English, and it's even like the toddler or the kids, they are going to international kindergarten or something, and maybe it's easier for us to study English, and TOEFL is becoming the standard when you are going to graduate from your university or something. And we consume a lot of things from Western country, and maybe that's the factor why we can learn English easily.
Okay. This next question will be the final question today. If we didn't have a chance to answer your question, please feel free to ask the speaker in person or contact her via email. You said that was okay as well. So an audience member would like to know, going back to the history of your country, if Indonesia had this centuries-long tradition of colonization by the Dutch, how did it come about that Indonesia is a predominantly Muslim country today?
So before the colonialism, Indonesia was also known as, there was so many kingdoms, like the ancient kingdom like Majapahit, Sriwijaya, and any other. And there was a Muslim kingdom at that time, and we also have say Wali Songo. There's the 9 scholars where they spread Islam there, and maybe that's the reason.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's give the speaker a round of applause for answering our questions. Thank you very much.